Yes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good times. How is everybody doing today? Welcome to the latest episode of The Neighborhood Watch.
Woohoo!
Starring Dr. K over there.
Hello, hello, hello.
And me, Dr. Venkman, Peter. We are here finally able to talk to you about the cinematic masterpiece, the definition of our childhoods.
So true.
1987's.
1987's.
Yep. Predator.
Bum, bum, bum.
And not Predator versus Aliens.
Nope.
Not Predators.
Nope.
Not The Predator.
The Predator. Yep.
Just Predator.
Just Predator.
That's
Yep.
all you
Where
need.
it all started.
Yeah,
Where
that's
it
right.
all started.
It's a joy.
Yes.
It's we just got done watching it,
We did.
and maybe we've seen it each by ourselves 500 times, 600 times.
Conservatively.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Agreed.
But as we said as we watched it, never gets old.
No.
It never
man.
gets old.
Nope.
And it's never like every
Nope.
time I see it, I'm never disappointed.
So
And
true.
They're-
Almost the other way
yeah,
around, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always better, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny because there's a lot of movies like that where you go back and you're like, oh, I want to recapture that feeling,
Yeah.
and then you watch it and you're like, oh, this was not good. What was I
Right.
thinking?
What was my headspace
Yeah.
then?
Or just like, oh, I guess I can see why I liked it then, but I
Yeah.
don't really get it now.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
this, like,
Ah.
we get it when we were 12,
Right.
and we still get it when we're 41.
Right.
It doesn't change. It's
Right.
like, it's
Oh,
it's
man.
beautiful. you know?
And I loved watching it with you, Pete, because I think as we're older and grayer and a lot more savvy than we were when we were 12, because when you're 12 and you watch it, I'll speak for us both.
Yeah.
It's the enthusiasm
Yes.
and the thrill of what's going on,
Yes.
because it's I
It's
mean,
intense.
visually it's great, right? But then as old graybeard wizards, the way that we are, we have a better understanding of film
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and it reinforces how good this film
Yes.
is
Yeah.
to know more about good movies
Right.
and why this is a good movie.
Right.
Because this is chock full. I mean, literally chock full of doing the
right
correct
thing.
decision and the right thing at the right time. And we're
Could-
going to rattle this all off for you
Couldn't
people.
say it better.
because-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the right moves.
It really is.
All the right
It really
moves.
is. Just one time, and it was funny as we were watching it. We're like, dang, and then that, and then this, and then that, and then this, and then this, and then that. I mean,
nothing wasted.
no,
Yeah.
dude, music,
Yep.
framing. We said
Yes.
on framing too. We had to push pause a couple times,
Yeah.
people, because you would just sit there and look at it and be like, shit, dude.
Yeah.
They knew. Like, just look at this, and it might even be a shot where it's Arnie standing in front of some just spectacular backdrop for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But man, you look at that and you're like, gosh, dang, dude.
That's awesome.
Perfectly framed. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's before we hit record, we were just talking about Frazetta.
Yes.
Talking about Frazetta, man.
Right.
Put Arnold
Right.
in front of a big rubber tree.
So true.
You got
Yeah.
all these paintings right there. You know?
Right. A million. A million.
Oh
man.
Yeah. I mean, it's everything coming together. It's one of those things where we talk about movie magic.
Yeah. Right.
It's just crackling here, man.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
and-
Whether it's by design or not, or I mean by happenstance or by sheer
luck.
luck, by
Yeah.
dumb luck. This movie is riddled with just like, dude, it's a grocery list
Yeah.
of like, holy crap, that's still good,
And it's funny too because as we were watching it, especially during that scene where they're it's the first time like they're doing their mission,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah. Yep.
setting up the thing and the truck and everything,
Yep.
and you're like you get all these kind of A-Team vibes,
Man, big time.
and it
Yep.
reminds you that this is 1987,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but it's still, even though it's borderline, like you're seeing a lot of that Rambo kind of flavor and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
It's not hokey. It's not cheesy.
Right.
It's
Yep.
just, I mean, it's a little cartoony with them throwing grenades and the guys flying into the water and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not
Yeah.
over the top, It's
not really at all. And,
I don't know. There's something they just hit on some quality there where it's almost timeless.
Yeah. Really.
It's 80s, but it's not 80s,
And that's the best part, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the part where, I mean, because we can talk about other we can even talk about other good 80s
Yes.
movies that will suffer a little bit
Mm-hmm.
from, Tango and Cash. Great movie.
Yeah.
It's really super fun,
Yeah.
but it does suffer a little bit
Yeah.
where you're kind of like, whoa, dude, I'm getting overdosed
Yeah.
on tropes, right?
Yes.
It's getting too tropic.
Yep.
It's getting too 80s for me.
Yep.
And where that you can get away with that if you're freaking John Carpenter, but man,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of people who can really do that, who can get away with it for the sake of getting away with it. And where this movie did so good, I think that we were agreeing on, is that it does do a little bit of the Rambo thing and a little bit of the like, hey, let's have fun with it. But it's the when they do that. That's the key to it, right?
Yes.
Is to not overdose on it,
The timing.
and not to drag that stuff out. Yeah, all about timing, right? Because it really is just that first mission.
Yeah.
Because I think this is what we were saying when we were watching it, but they want us to think that the our group of protagonists are in control, and so we're seeing them in their environment, in control,
Pros.
being the pros, right? But the thing is as soon as that firefight's over, it's straight downhill.
Shitstorm.
It just
Yep.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
definitely.
great storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we should do back up just a little bit
Yeah.
to the helicopter scene where we kind of had that little moment there, right? Where when they the scene that everybody is beautifully familiar with, as we are, hopefully, when they all get into the helicopter and they take off, right?
Yeah.
Which is super smart too, because there's no setup for that.
Yeah.
You've got them at the table. Inside, it's Carl Weathers' character, and which is funny because he doesn't have any rank. He's CIA, right?
Yeah.
But then Dutch is a major.
Yeah.
But then General Hackenthorpe or whatever his name is, General whatever his freaking name is,
Yeah.
says, hey, you're going to go in, and then
Carl Weathers is
and then
gonna
Carl
be in
Weathers
charge.
is going to be in charge, and Dutch is like, wait, WTF, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, it cuts immediately from that to they're in the air.
Yeah.
And that was super smart.
So great.
You don't need to see them loading shit up
don't need any
or
of
any of
that.
that because they had that great before that when they land
Yeah.
and they're doing the freaking Jeep thing through the
Yeah, through the
beach.
water.
It's all there.
Yep.
All of that is in that part.
Arnold gets to smoke his
Oh,
cigar.
he gets his
and,
stogies.
yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they're in the helicopter, and the color while they're in the helicopter is red. The entire time
Yeah.
it's red, right? They got a red light on.
Yep.
And we're
Little
seeing
Richard's playing in the
Little
background.
Richard's playing in the background. Freaking Jesse the Body's character of Blaine gets to does the super machismo, man, right?
Yeah.
Spits right on Carl Weathers' boots and then gives him dogs him. Just stares right in his
I
face.
love that, like,
Oh.
there was a time in the end of high school where I was starting to chew tobacco, right?
Yep.
And I never chewed tobacco like Jesse Ventura chews tobacco.
Right.
Like he actually
Bravado.
He's chewing that. He's like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a cow and a cud kind of thing.
Right. Right.
So,
He's like, if I'm gonna get my buzz on, it's with a fistful of chew.
right. Some guys just let it sit on their lip, but not Jesse.
No.
He's
He's
chewing
gnawing
away.
on it. Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
So,
So good.
yeah.
But the use of lighting there, right? How it's
Yeah.
red
Yep.
and how we're seeing the army,
Everything's
they're
red.
in control. And as soon as they turn the light off, what do we see? Everything's green.
Oh, green.
Foreshadow.
Nice.
So smart.
And
right?
like
and
that,
then they
yeah.
descend. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
They don't come bowling in on trucks or anything. They
Right.
drop into the green environment.
Yeah.
Gosh. Dude, welcome to the jungle, as the song
Welcome
goes.
to the jungle,
Right.
It's
Right.
it's like Dr. K was saying too. It's they in the red when they're in the red light.
Yeah.
They're in control.
That's right.
They're badasses, man. They're
Yes.
as Hudson would tell us.
Yes.
And then the red light goes off and it's all green.
Yeah.
And now you're
Yeah.
in the predator's territory.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And,
Right.
And from then on, it's a ride.
Yeah,
And
really.
it's-
Right.
And it's great. I mean, it's so fun that you're in this just really intense experience the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
boring, and
Right.
you're not like, I wonder what's happening and what are they doing in LA right now?
Dude,
They-
yeah, you pointed that out, and it's so absolutely true. This is the story is one track. It stays with this group from the very beginning, from the opening scene
Yep.
to the end scene on a helicopter when they're flying out,
Yep.
which is interesting too, right? Because we see them fly in, and
Yeah,
then we
and
see them fly
fly
back,
out.
right?
And it's great. I mean, to look at him in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh,
he's
right.
so cocky and bravado.
With his
And
with his
at
cigar
the
and
end,
everything.
he's just
and
a husk. He's just a burned out husk of a shape of a man.
Yes.
And he's just like, he can barely keep his eyes open.
Yep. So smart. So smart. Yep. Yeah, but they don't need it. There's no superfluous story.
No.
We don't need any side stories. No. We don't need to know about what the army is doing.
Right.
We don't need we don't need to flash back to General Dude Face being like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on out there. We better blah 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 blah." We don't need any of that crap.
No.
Yeah.
Just the experience.
Yep.
In every character, I mean, I think when I was younger, I wasn't such a fan of Hawkins, with the glasses, But
Shane Black,
yeah,
right?
Shane Black,
the writer, yes.
Because like everybody else is pretty much a badass, and
Yeah.
he's the least badass out of all of them.
Right.
But he serves a purpose though, and
Absolutely.
And I like him more now that I'm older.
Yeah.
I think he's funnier with his dirty jokes.
I think
and
I
stuff.
identified with him the most because he seemed to be the youngest guy,
Yep.
and he's the only guy who breaks the bravado character when he goes to help the girl, right? When he's like, when he grabs her and he's like, "Hey, come on!" Right when he gets killed, right? He's kind of like, "Come on, I'm trying to help you."
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else is just like, kill her," just,
Right.
and I say kill her, but they're like, get her out of here.
She's
We don't
just
need
like
her.
a package.
Yeah. He seems to be the compassionate one, and I think that's why I liked him as a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes
I was
sense.
like, that would be me.
Yeah.
Telling the
that's
dirty
true. That is
vagina
true.
jokes.
That is very true. Yeah, exactly. He's almost the
Yeah.
most the most real out of everybody.
Yes.
Right? Everybody else is kind of
Posturing. You know, they're all army guys. I mean, that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
They're all these really super.
pissing contest.
Oh, totally. Which is, I mean, and that. If you love this kind of movie, they nail it, right? Right. Each guy is so. Getting back to the A-Team, each guy really, it's like you have this guy and this character type, and then you contrast him, and when you go through the line of all the 5 or 6 guys, right, they're all very different from one another.
But they each got their thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Each got their specialty.
Yeah, each very different, especially with and then the duality between Jesse the Body's, between the Blaine character and the Mac character.
Yeah.
Where Mac, when we first see him, he's in a suit.
Yeah.
He's very clean, right? He's very articulate and meticulous. Whereas his counterpart, his best friend, is the opposite way, right? He's got his MTV shirt on.
Yep.
He's like kind of filthy.
Right.
He's just, he's got a rattlesnake band on his freaking boonie hat.
Yep. That Australian hat, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was a big thing in the
button.
80s too. That hat. I think
this was one of those things again from Vietnam, right? This is one of
Yes.
those holdover. There's such a huge Vietnam influence going on in this film without being in Vietnam.
Yes.
I mean, even in the language when they make the reference. Carl Weathers' character says, these are just a couple of sappers following us. That's straight out of Vietnam, right?
Vietnam War lingo.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then Jesse the Body actually being in Vietnam in real life.
Yeah.
It's got so much good shit going on.
It really
there.
does. Yeah. It's got that shadow of Vietnam looming over it. Right?
Yep. And then Carl Weathers, the next year after this movie came out, 1988, what show does he do a bunch of episodes on? Tour of Duty.
Oh, okay.
He has a major story arc on Tour of Duty. So.
And Action Jackson.
That's a great movie.
Which I need to see again.
Yes, I haven't seen that in forever. That was great. Yeah.
So you're right. Each guy's got his own thing, and they're but my money on the most cold badass out of them all is Billy.
Yeah. Oh,
Billy. I mean, and that line. I mean, you said it best. After he delivers that line of there's something after us, and it ain't no man.
That's right. It ain't no man.
And then he turns and he's like,
"We're all gonna die
out here."
Yep.
Which now that you just said that like that, it made me realize he stole that from the old man in Poltergeist too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're all gonna die in there. He just put his own spin on it.
It's not in the house; it's in the jungle. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, the way he delivers
which
that
is funny
line.
because he was in the first Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Oh,
so and then he stole the line from the guy in the second
It all
Poltergeist.
comes together.
Dang it!
It all comes
Yeah,
together.
dude, small world.
Yep.
You're right though. Sonny's character of
Billy.
Billy, he's great because he's the most mysterious of everybody, right? Like the character of Ramirez, he's talking a lot, and so you seem like you're very comfortable with this Ramirez character and the Hawkins character. They're kind of the two chatty ones.
Yeah.
And then there's that and that dynamic is very different against the Billy and
Did you say Ramirez?
yeah, that character's name is Ramirez.
Who?
The guy who gets hit with the tree, the guy who's speaking Spanish
Oh, him.
to
Yeah.
the hostage girl.
Yes. Okay.
He's the
I thought you made a Highlander slip there.
oh no. His name is Ramirez. Yes.
Juan Villalobos
Yes.
Ramirez.
I would be guilty as shit of that if I hadn't made that mistake
Okay.
though. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Ramirez.
But oh yeah, so his character and the Hawkins character, Shane Black's character, are the kind of the two chatty ones.
Yeah.
And then you've got then you've got the pair of Mac and Blaine.
Yeah.
But then that leaves, Dutch obviously is the boss, but then Billy
Yeah.
is the quiet. He's the tracker. He's the mysterious one.
He's almost the Wolverine. Of
And
the group.
yeah, totally. That's
Yeah.
exactly what he is.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
He's the coolest.
Yep. And you see it too when he starts to come, as they say, as Carl Weathers' character says, he's just coming unglued. Everybody's like, holy crap, if he's scared, we're up shit creek, right?
Exactly.
Because you get the idea that he's the one who never gets scared by anything because being the tracker, he always knows what's going on. He can tell you, here's what's going on, but then with the Predator, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Dude, brilliant.
And it's also brilliant in the way that he's the most like the Predator out of all of them too,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like he
Exactly.
can track and
Yep.
And so you're like,
and he's the first one to see it,
Yeah.
right? When he gets Dutch over there, and he's like, "Hey, do you see that thing sitting in the trees?"
Something in the
and
trees
Dutch
watching
is like,
us.
"What? No."
Yeah.
He goes, "Okay, forget it."
yeah.
Which just sucks, right? There's a missed opportunity there because he did see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when they should have unloaded all their
I
weapons.
know. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. There's a couple missed opportunities. That one, and then when Mac and what's Carl Weathers' character's name?
Yeah.
I don't want to keep on calling him Carl.
Just a second.
Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. Yeah.
Slap.
Yeah, we promised
Yes.
Mr. Corleone
Yes.
that we would talk about that handshake.
We will, Mr. Corleone.
Yeah.
Here in a second before I forget my train of thought.
Right.
So the other time they could have sniped him was when Mac and Dylan take off after the Predator and then are down in that kind of like hidey hole down there, and Mac grabs Dylan by the mouth and says shh, and then he points and he can see him.
I see.
Right there, they should have sniped him.
Just
they
right
should have just like been like, okay, one shot, pow, but
Take him out.
they didn't, and then Mac gets killed 5 seconds later.
With the best death scene in all of cinema history.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, just
You'd be hard pressed to even
fruit
come
punch
close.
bowl in the camera. Boom. Just right there.
Yep, I would have loved that. He's, when you see him reading his script the first time, so it goes, okay, so you're on the ground, you're under a bunch of trees, and you're looking directly up at the Predator's gooch as he stands over you and blows your head off into camera.
All right, I'm in.
I'm in. Okay, let's do it. Yep.
Yeah, that was great.
Yep. Okay, but back to the
that
the arm
handshake.
wrestling, the handshake. Yeah. It means a lot to you. I mean,
It's
I've
so
seen
80s.
I've
Yeah.
seen, and we're gonna post that picture on the
Yeah.
slideshow. Dang it.
Yes,
'cause,
okay.
it's important.
Put it in there. We'll
It's
put it in
important.
there. Yeah, that so here's what I would say about that handshake.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knows what handshake I'm talking about.
There can be only one.
Yeah, there could be only one. So I did a series of paintings. I moved to Hong Kong a few years ago, and in my first year there, I didn't know anybody, so I just kept going to the street markets and buying movies, and then I would just do a little painting from the scenes,
Yes.
And that was one that I chose, and I think ultimately, without getting too pretentious and artistic and stuff, but
No,
or
please do,
maybe
please
I
do.
will. Maybe I'll just go full bore.
Yes, thank you.
But that that handshake,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It's like that's like the 80s action movies distilled into one image. I
Yeah.
think,
Yep.
It's like
Agreed.
it's like It's like if you're 12 years old.
Yep.
And you idolize somebody or something,
Yep.
It's just all there. It's just
It really
it's
is.
like this. It's this just colossal arm wrestling match.
Yep. Yep.
And it's just awesome. I mean, they're so roided up.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
They're just like
to them. They're roided up.
covered
They're
with
greased
oil.
up. Yeah. Yep. The whole bit.
veins coming out of everywhere.
Gosh. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But talking about the iconography of it,
Yeah.
right? So we could take that if we went to Comic-Con,
Mm-hmm.
whichever, the biggest, all of the biggest ones, right? And we had a giant projection of that
Yeah.
next to Over the Top, some shot from Over the Top or some shit, right? To hear people talk,
Yeah.
right? Because you wouldn't even need you don't have to see that it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and because that shot you can't see, you just see their arms, right? You just see him holding it. Everybody in there is going to know, and they're all going to have a remembrance of that, and it's going probably almost certainly to be positive.
Yeah.
Whereas Over the Top, now I've got another one that I'm holding back on here, but Over the Top was the arm wrestling movie.
Yes.
That shit was so stupid. I mean,
It just
the
didn't
scorpions and the freaking okay, but just as a special note, there is the arm wrestling in The Fly when
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum tears that other guy's arm off.
That is true. As far as arm wrestling goes, those are like the top three things right there.
Yes,
aren't
yeah,
they?
yeah. The '80s, man, arm
Yeah,
wrestling, right?
yeah.
That was
That was a huge thing.
shit was going on.
Yeah.
What happened to us?
I mean, that used to be a way. I think you would just make friends, right? Like
well, really, yeah.
you would just be
Yeah,
like, okay, what's your name? Okay, let's arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Like that's just how you got to know people.
It's the
back
pecking order, right? You got to see
then. Yep.
who's higher on the totem
Yep.
pole.
Yep.
And if you're Jeff Goldblum, you just go and tear everybody's arms
them
off
off.
and
And
take the skanky girlfriend with you
Yeah,
home.
That's right. And then spit goo all over them. And, yeah. Lunch is
Put your
served.
teeth in a little jar.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, that would be great. Is to go back and get Dutch to arm wrestle Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Somebody should do an animation of that.
Oh man, that would be great. Yes.
Goldblum, you son of a bitch!
How does this end?
Right. Somebody animate that for us.
Man. I guess he could just tear Goldblum in half, and then he'll be the Fly underneath, right? Yeah, he'll
right.
tear his his skin off, and then he'll just kind of fast forward to the Fly
Exactly.
mutation.
That's
what do you
another
mean?
one. Was that in your list? The Fly?
No, but it should have
Okay.
been.
'Cause
Yeah,
we
it's
talk about that a lot.
super good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we better put that in there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. K hit me with the list of the next 12 or 15 episodes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and I pretty much agreed with every single one of them too,
F and A.
except for Howling 3: The Marsupials.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
you know.
We had to have that stand in for Howling 1
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I had lent that out, being the good neighbor that I am.
That's true. That's true.
Because Howling 3 is kind of low on her.
Yeah, but
Although
kind
it's
of
got
high
its
in
moments.
in its own way too.
We might have to do a
Yeah.
5-minute
Yeah.
reason why to watch Howling 3
Right.
because it has moments that are beyond disturbing.
So true.
But
So true.
yes.
Yeah.
As an aside,
Yeah.
to all our werewolf fans out there.
Oh, yeah. It's about time we do a werewolf movie.
Yes.
But
Okay,
yeah.
so here this is one thing I was been sticking in my craw
Mm-hmm.
before we go any further because we're working our way into the movie. But I think this is important to talk about. So everybody that listens to this channel, thank you very much. Knows that we do horror movies here
Mm-hmm.
because we're infatuated with what makes horror movies so effing good, right?
It's true.
And why we're in love with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do almost certainly, we can almost guarantee our fans that we're doing a trifecta of 80s movies right now, which are all 80s monster movies.
Yeah.
Now, we hate to split hairs here because Peter and I do agree that these are all three horror movies, but they're also genre benders.
Yeah.
They also cross-pollinate with sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Predator being the first one that we did because we were talking about it so much this week. We're just like, oh,
It's
F it.
time.
We just got to do it,
Yeah.
right? And then we're probably not going to blow anybody's minds here, but the other two being Aliens, because we're doing 80s here, which is definitely, it's probably ups the sci-fi on Predator a little bit more.
Yeah.
But is it a horror movie? Hell yes, it is.
Yes. Yep.
And I would say it's got more monster and more blood and guts,
Yeah.
way more than Predator does. And Predator's great. We're going to get back into that too, about how it really does have some visceral
Yes.
moments. And then the third being Terminator,
Yep.
which is also, three of the just awesomest monsters. Generally, when you're talking 80s monster movies, though, we tend almost always the conversation goes to the horror franchise
Yeah.
monsters, not the sci-fi horror monsters. And these three, I mean, talk about a trifecta of awesomeness,
Totally.
right? Predator, Alien, and Terminator.
Yeah.
Like right there.
It's you can't get much bigger than that. And,
It's not a can of worms. It's a bucket of worms.
yeah. And
It's a 5-gallon bucket of worms. Yeah.
and I'll just say this too is Predator. I was thinking about that as I was watching it tonight. How it really is an evolution of Creature of the Black Lagoon too. You know?
Totally.
I mean, we did that
Totally.
episode a few
Yes.
episodes ago.
Yep.
Predator is just it's an evolution of that thing. you know?
Really.
It's an evolution of that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. The great spin here being just that instead of us invading its thing, it's invading us. All
Yeah.
they did was kind of flip the idea
Flip it
there,
up.
right? But
Yep.
it's all the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Here's this thing that is watching you vicariously. He's a creeper, right? And then ultimately he's antagonistic.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. It's great.
man. Okay, but now that we got that out of the way, yeah, we should talk about some of the better horror aspects of this movie, because there
Yeah.
are some really
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
horror moments
Yes.
in this movie.
Yes.
That, for how awesomely sci-fi it is, you can't. I mean, just the first good one with them hanging the Hoppers crew
That's what I
hanging in
was
the
thinking
trees.
too, yeah.
That's just like I want you to talk about it because it's visceral. Yeah.
Yeah, it's we were talking about it because my son was asking me to watch Predator.
Yep.
And he's almost 8, and I'm thinking, it's getting there. Maybe we could watch it. But then I thought about that scene.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, we're either gonna have to fast forward that,
Right.
or just wait a couple of years, because like we had talked about it. We were probably 11 or 12 when we first saw that.
Exactly. Yep.
And that burned into my head. That
Yeah.
these flayed,
Right.
dripping blood, naked dudes hanging from the branches.
Yes.
It's really,
Very Hellraiser.
It's very
it's-
Hellraiser, and it's
yeah.
just, it's still like really realistic. Like,
Yes,
it's just, like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
very tightly done.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep. It's cut perfectly too. We're going to say this time and time again. The cutting and the editing in this film,
Brilliant.
it's as good as it gets.
Top notch. Top
Yep.
notch.
Yep. They didn't just zoom in there and show it for a minute and a half. And they also didn't do 1 second quick cuts
Yeah.
back and forth. They did it just
enough.
perfect, and it wasn't just quick cuts for the sake of doing a quick cut to lose the realism, which is usually what happens when it sucks, right? But they're showing it to you from all angles.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh man,
And the
they keep
flies buzzing around and stuff.
Oh, dude, the flies and the freaking vultures.
Yep.
And then they go to that really great shot, which is like it's like above, right? You're at like the 1 o'clock view looking down on it. Oh,
That's great. Great stuff.
when you see Billy first walk in there, it's that shot too, but it's zoomed in closer. And he's like, whoa, and he's bumping into him and everything.
That's just
Really, really good.
Yeah, that's pure. Like
Really
you said,
good.
that's pure Hellraiser. Too,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're the fact that they're hanging upside down. I mean, they weren't on chains, but yeah, it really was very Hellraiser. Yeah.
It's funny too. I feel like my first few viewings of Predator too. I just didn't understand what that was. Like
Yeah.
I remember like later on I came to the realization. I don't know why it took me so long.
Yeah.
But I still remember like.
You were too scared.
Yeah, I was just like, why were they like that? I know the Predator did that, but like,
Right.
what was that all about? Like, he's just torturing them, like.
Right.
Then you realize, like, no, he's just a hunter.
Yeah.
He's
Yep.
just a hunter.
That's right. They walked in on his camp.
Yeah.
Essentially, is what
Yeah.
happened, right?
Yeah.
It's just,
He
he's got
wasn't,
everybody all skinned up. Yep.
But I remember being really like horrified by that as a kid. And just like, man, he's a psycho.
Right. Right. Oh man.
Yeah.
So some other good moments. I guess it's not really till the good guys start getting killed, right? Because there's not really much gore going on during the initial fight with the drug dealers,
Yeah.
or the arms dealers,
Right.
or whatever it is. I forget. Is it arms dealers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Expendable.
Yeah. Yes.
Expendable assets, Dutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. So good. I.e. why we have the Expendables franchise.
That's really it.
It totally is, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some really cool stunt work in that. Really cool stunt work. We were talking about the camera angles on that.
Yes.
Dude, again,
Great.
they were thinking of some very creative, really good stuff. And it's cool because it's such a red herring about how red herring, not a bird, a herring.
Yeah.
Talking out my ass here, a red herring, in that you're thinking like, oh, this is going to be an action movie where the good guys are fighting just a bunch of dudes, right?
Yeah.
But not at all. It's this one little moment.
And it's like, as you said too, this is really the director and the cast just like, we're gonna have some fun here.
Exactly. Yep. It's the one time to lighten the mood and have fun, right?
Yeah.
And blow up helicopters, blow up drug dealer, arm dealer guys.
Just think of all these creative shots that weren't used in Rambo First Blood Part 2 or Missing in Action.
Yes.
It's like we're gonna out Missing in Action.
We can't jump our boat like they did in Missing in Action, so we're gonna do.
That's right.
Well, when Peter and I were watching that, I was falling over, dying of laughter when they jumped the boat.
Yeah.
It's not even like a straight like jumping the shark jump off of a boat. They kind of like half-ass get the boat half off of this like wedge thing that goes kind of sideways.
So good.
It's so awesome. Oh shit! But I'm not gonna digress into that.
Those are good movies.
Those are great movies. Please, people, go out and watch everything we're talking about because
those are great.
They're fucking awesome.
But this scene is just full of just funness and great shots.
Yep.
Lots of
freaking Blaine walking around just mowing guys over with a minigun.
We need to talk for a half an hour about that gun.
We
that
do.
Blaine has.
We do. So people, you got to check reality, right? This is going to be one of those ones where the nerds get all nerded up backwards into their own buttholes where they're like, no, you can't do that. That's not real. Yeah, fuck no, it's not real, okay? Right. Just like it wasn't real in Terminator 2 when they used the exact same gun when he's up in there when he's shooting at the freaking helicopter out of the high rise. Same exact gun, right? Yeah. Okay, so you can't shoot those without a massive generator to create the electricity to run them and the recoil because those are floor-mounted guns, right? That's something that you mount inside of a helicopter or a gunship. You can't have one guy holding it. It's impossible. It weighs too much. It's beyond reality.
Unless he's Dolph Lundgren.
And there we go. Exactly. Yes. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Jesse the Body.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. In which case you can hold a minigun and shoot it because it looks awesome. One of the things we were laughing about too, it's so great because Jesse the Body, his character, Blaine, has 5,000 rounds of ammo in his backpack, which comes out. I mean, that is so straight out of a Punisher comic book. So they're like, okay, how is this going to work? Yep. I'll just give him a giant backpack with 4,000 pounds of ammo belt. I mean,
it'll work.
Just fun. Don't worry about the physics, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry about
the sound of that gun.
Oh,
too,
yeah,
just
right?
Like, it's like a vacuum cleaner or something. Just I mean, I remember thinking, watching that and just being like, there is no greater gun than that.
That's so true.
That is the coolest gun of all time.
Yep. I think my moment was really in T2, having seen Predator first, and then when he busts out with the same gun in T2, I was like, "What? It's the freaking Predator gun!" Right. And then then all of a sudden you're in love because now the gun is a character, right? Yeah, and then you're in love with the freaking minigun. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, what else? That we just
had to think about that gun for a little bit.
That's good. That's good.
Cool
oh yeah, too. When Mac, and this is a credit just to the acting, but the way that Mac uses that gun as a prop, right, to relay to us like what his character is going through, it's brilliant, right? Where he's just mashing down on the trigger. And everybody starts staring at him, and he's just like, he's not even in reality anymore. And then he lets go, and then you hear it wind down. It's like, it clicks down. So cool. Yeah, because you're seeing him wind down, right? He's wound up, and then he has to wind down, and he doesn't quite come back because they're all. That's that great line where freaking, they're just yelling at him, right? Like, what happened? What happened? He's just, nah. He's not quite all back yet.
Yeah.
And then they go out and look in the forest and don't find anything.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's straight downhill.
Well, I was thinking about that too. How going back to the Vietnam stuff again too, like I thought some of the camera work really reminded me of like the news footage of the Vietnam War too, where it's like handheld and kind of bouncy and stuff. And even like how Blaine gets killed, you know, it goes through his chest, right?
Yeah.
But we only see like the top part of his chest,
right?
And then he kind of falls off a camera, you know,
just
as you would see if like some reporter was holding a camera or something. That's
great
really
insight.
Smart, right?
Great
it's
insight.
Really, I mean, because like for instance, Paul W.T. Anderson, who directed Predator versus Aliens, or Aliens versus Predator.
Your favorite. Yes.
Yeah, AVP. So if he was directing that scene, it would be Jesse Ventura standing right in front of the camera.
That's right.
And then you know, his chest exploding, right?
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's kind of cool actually now that I say it. But
there's no it's not the right way to do it.
Yeah, because
it isn't the right way to do it.
The way that McTiernan does it in Predator, it makes it so much more real and
that's
so
right.
much. It just, you know, it just plays on your imagination more.
Exactly right. Exactly.
And
right.
And
then when you see them kneeling next to his body,
yeah,
even then too, you can kind of see a little bit that he's crispy crittered, right?
But you're not
it's
seeing
not
everything.
The close up isn't on him. Mm-mm. It's on Dutch and Dylan, right?
Yep.
And then Dylan is telling the audience what he's seen.
Yeah.
Right. All the wounds are cauterized.
Right.
What can do this to a man?
Right. And you just see
and
part of
and you
his.
Just see he's kind of
side
like
of
crispy
beef.
crittered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then too, to make it even, I think it sells it more too, because then the only time after that we see Blaine's character is when Matt goes over and unzips his body bag, and we only see his face.
Yep.
Right? They aren't trying to hide the effect, because they could have showed the effect.
Yeah.
They could have showed all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the point. It's to get you
the realism.
Fall
of it.
Yeah. You want to be in love with these characters, and because there's plenty of it's gratuitous. I mean, when Mac's head gets blown off, that's pure.
It doesn't get more gratuitous than that.
Right.
But it had to build up to that.
That's right. You got it.
It had to build up to that kind of crescendo of violence. And again, like that's really smart movie making, because there's a billion action movies. By the time you get to the Mac's head blowing up in the camera, you could care less. You've already seen it 100 times,
right?
You know what I mean? Like throughout the course of the movie, you're desensitized enough to where it's like you're bored by the violence and the action.
So true. That happens so more often than not.
Oh, it's
Transformers. You talk about Transformers all the time. This is why Michael Bay, if you're listening, it's why your fucking Transformers franchise sucks shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because after the first 5 minutes of the first movie, you don't care anymore about any of that crap.
And then they just keep recycling.
Because it's just overdose.
And
it's pure gratuity. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this is not that. I mean, it's not a slow build, but it's building up in the way, you know, it's choreographed expertly, right?
Right. That's right.
So
Yep.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. So after Blaine,
and then the predator blood.
Oh, yeah. Oh gosh. Oh. Gosh, okay, so we got to talk about
we talked forever about the blood
growing up in the 80s, because this is funny, right? This shouldn't be a thing, but if you were a kid and a teenager in the 1980s like we were, it's that glow in the dark anything, not just so that stuff definitely, right? The stuff that is the predator blood, which is the stuff that was in every glow stick that you ever played with, or every piece of slime that you ever bought out of a toy machine, or that you bought the Masters of the Universe slime, or the Ghostbuster slime, or name it. I mean, it's all there. And so Ghostbusters, really, we were talking, probably was the first. The floodgates opened in 1984. When Ghostbusters came out, that toy hit the market, and then gosh, dude,
everybody
it never
was in love with slime after that.
It never stopped. Even today, my girls get that stuff all of the freaking time.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, we want the slime."
It's like it's just one of those things. It's like kids like ice cream, kids like slime.
That's right. That's right. But the fact that it's glow in the dark, day glow. It's not. We say glow in the dark. It's day glow is what it is. It's
so
like
awesome.
Burning your eyeballs out, day glow.
Yep.
radioactive blood slime. Ah,
It's the best.
gosh, it
I mean,
is.
you cannot choose a better predator blood than
That's
that.
right.
You know?
That's right.
And it's just sitting there on the leaves and stuff. And
Yep.
she puts it on her pant leg. And
Yep. Yep.
Just great. And she was great too. You
Yep.
know?
Oh, she's awesome.
uh,
Apildia.
yeah. Esperidelia.
We're gonna have to
Anna.
look so we don't butcher her name.
She played Anna. We'll say that.
Anna.
Yeah. She was, what I liked about her was that she played it really real, so that again it just added more to the realism side of things.
Absolutely.
And it was, you know, we talked about that as we were watching it. It would have been so easy for them to go Hollywood and to cast like you know, Sharon Stone or I was thinking, what's her face? I lost her name now, but you know what I mean. Like,
yes,
like
I know
this kind
exactly
of-
what you mean.
This kind of like bombshell babe kind of thing, you know.
Yep.
But they were smart with, like, you know,
Totally.
making her just real. She was real.
Right.
She played it real. You know. She wasn't-
Elpidia Camarillo.
Yes.
There we go. We got it straight. You are absolutely right.
Well
she was
done.
perfectly cast.
Perfectly.
She's got one of my all-time favorite lines. I've got two lines that I say almost daily in my house. Because with small children, you can't use expletives. So you have to come up with more creative ways to say things. And one of my favorite is, her line is, it's blood was on the leaves. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And so to torture my wife, sometimes I will just randomly say that as an answer to any question that she poses to me. I'll just say, its blood was on the leaves. She's like, what the fuck is the matter with you? And then
That's a good thing. It works for so many situations.
it does. It does.
That's great.
And then the other one, I particularly like to do this one when I'm driving, but is Mac's line when he kills the giant warthog, which that scene is so intense too, right? Because, you know, it doesn't work so much every subsequent viewing, but the first time you see it, it could be the predator, right? You don't know until you see that he goes hand-to-hand combat with a 400-pound pig.
Awesome.
And he's like, got you, killed you.
Killed you.
Yeah. I say that shit all the time.
Yeah.
Gotcha, killed you.
Well, that's just like so you gotta love Bill Duke, right?
Oh, Bill Duke is the best.
Yeah, and-
you do have to love
and,
him. You have to.
And he does the same thing for me too. And it's always whenever I'm doing something that's really difficult, like say I'm like you know, carrying bags of groceries or something, right? And I always think of that scene where he's one arming the M60, like you said, going up the hill.
Giant M60.
I'm gonna have myself fun. I'm gonna have myself fun. I'm gonna have myself fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's walking straight up like this slope. Yeah. With a gun that weighs 50 pounds and a giant sling of ammo. Yeah.
I mean,
It's
just
You
burned
just
in
got to
there.
put yourself into, you become Mac and you're
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
It's
Gotta have
just-
me some
yeah.
fun.
It's whenever I have to do anything that's difficult. I'll think of Mac.
See, this is what Predator does
Yeah.
to people.
The other thing we have to
It's so freaking
mention
good.
is Dutch posing for the cover of Contra.
That's right.
too.
That's right.
Yeah, so you'll see the scene 3/4 of the way into the movie when they're building all the booby traps and stuff. And Arnold is walking around with the vest, and there's one shot, he'll just stand there with the M60, and he'll be like, okay, Contra guys, paint.
Yes.
And then he has
And
to-
we're not joking either.
No.
This really is. Yeah, you look at the
cover.
the NES Contra, and it is exactly that shot. Yep.
And then they took Stallone from Rambo, I think,
That's
for
right.
the other guy.
That's right. Yep.
So-
Just like they took Reese from Aliens.
Yep.
Was
Hicks.
it
Hicks.
Hicks
Yep.
from Aliens? Sorry, same actor, wrong movie. Yes, the Hicks from Alien shot on the cover of Metal Gear Solid.
Or just Metal Gear.
No, just Metal Gear.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
the first Metal Gear. That is just that's a shot directly out of the movie, and they're like, just paint that on there. Yep.
So again, it's further proof that, you know, I mean, we get a lot of or how would I say this? Japan, no, we copy a lot of Japanese things,
right?
But then the Japanese copy a lot of our things too.
Absolutely.
So you know what?
Absolutely. That door
Fair is
swings
fair.
both ways.
Swings both ways.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
hey, if it wasn't for Japan, we'd have no Transformers, number one, and we'd have no Musclemen. So
right. and I mean, sadly enough, any number of Disney films
Oh my
that have
gosh!
just
Yes,
whole
right.
hog stolen from anime.
Yes. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But you know, so then they got us back with Contra. and
Yes.
So, you know. But you know what? What's cool is everybody wins.
Yes,
Everybody wins,
that's
so-
right. That's
so
right.
the
You just find out the world is not as
yeah.
big as you think it is.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. I mean, and then you know what we. I don't think we've mentioned too much yet, but the
Yeah.
music
Ah,
is
gosh.
just incredible. It's
Yep.
one of those things where we were
Yep.
talking about Conan being an opera,
Yes.
and,
Yes.
and like the Basso Polidorus music
Is
just being essential to that ingredient.
yeah.
Like
Yep.
this is the same thing. It's
It
that
really
Alan
is.
Silvestri
To Alan Silvestri's credit, yeah.
just
yeah.
fuses it all together.
It is. He does
And-
such a great job of voicing things.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
the jungle
Yeah.
has a voice, which is that
Yeah.
it's not a conga drum, but it's some kind of drum that does that.
It's another fun
Yeah.
thing that I liked about watching it with you, Dr.
Yep.
K. You being a musician, you know, it's that insight of you know, yeah. I mean, the music really is. It's portraying characters.
Absolutely, it is.
So you know you
Yep.
saw that and you're like, yeah, that's the voice of the jungle.
Yep.
That drum is the jungle character.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And it's true.
It is. Yeah. Yep.
But it's such a mix of like synthesizer and symphony and
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
it's
Right.
just-
Which is really cool because sometimes that doesn't work so well. Or you have something like Terminator, which is all synthesizer
Mm-hmm.
and it works good, but then there's no symphony in it. This is the other way around, right? It's got that really cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It,
Yep.
I think, you know, for me, not being a musician but loving music
Yeah.
as everybody else does anyways, but you know, I think I really got into scores
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
around this time.
Yep.
And really understood like there was a composer that made
Yeah.
the music for this movie,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was so distinctive,
Yep.
but at the same time, like I can hear that music. And even then, at like 12 years old, I was like, "That's Alan Silvestri.
Yeah.
That's an Alan Silvestri
Absolutely.
sound."
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And then you go back and you listen to Back to the Future,
That's right.
and you're like, "That's
Yep.
that's the same guy." You know,
Yep.
and that's to me that's incredible that that music can have such a signature or such a
Oh, sure.
you know such a
Sure. Just like a painting.
just like a painting.
You
Yeah,
see a dolly and you're like, now I understand dolly. And so
Yeah.
you can see dolly or Giger or
Right.
there's a whole bunch of, I mean, any of them.
Yeah.
But music is the same way.
Music is the same way.
Once
And-
once you start to understand, like this is that's their voice.
it's their voice. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
strange though.
Yep.
You know, I don't think. I mean, really, I'd have to say until I discovered Alan Silvestri.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand how that voice and music
Sure.
worked. You know.
Sure.
Because
totally.
because John Williams also
Yeah.
has a voice, but
Absolutely.
there's a lot of music that sounds like John Williams.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
Totally.
and
And,
there's-
he's very traditional in
Yeah.
a way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's also he's
and it's like subtle.
pioneering
I mean,
in a way, but
yeah.
he's very traditional in that he uses a full orchestra pretty much for everything, right?
But he has this kind of trademarks, and like probably now,
Yeah, totally.
probably now, you know, we could both sit and we could hear some music and we'd be like, yeah, that's John Williams,
Yep.
without it being like a really iconic score
Oh,
or something.
sure. Yeah.
But it's really subtle. His voice is like a lot more subtle than like an Alan Silvestri.
Yeah.
Or so, you know?
Yeah.
Where Silvestri just, I mean, it just has those. And another thing I was thinking of is Romancing the Stone. He does the music
Yeah.
for that one too.
Ah, yeah.
Also in the jungle.
Yes.
So
right.
and that was a couple of years
Just thinking of that
before
movie
this.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you
Yep.
go back and listen to Romancing the Stone, you can hear a lot of those kind of like jungle elements he was playing
Sure.
with, but it was
Sure,
much more
sure. The
synthesizer
theme, yeah.
because it was 1984.
Man,
you know?
I was just gonna say, what's his name that did Aliens?
Horner.
Horner.
Yeah.
James Horner is was one of the first times that I realized that composers could have a voice, and that voice occurs in more than one project. Right?
Yes.
James Horner has that elephant voice thing that he does that sounds like a trumpeting elephant, and it's a frantic sound.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses it a crap ton in Aliens, in the second Aliens, right? Which is that like,
Yep.
but he had used that in
Star
multiple.
Trek.
He used that in Star Trek, and he used that in Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yep.
And I think he finally was like, "Oh, this is because that became a distinctly aliens thing."
Yep.
But you could tell that was brooding for James
Yeah, it
Horner.
was building all up to that, right?
yeah.
Because he used it in Krull as well.
Yes, that's right. That's
So
right.
good.
Man, right. And then Danny Elfman, I think he's one of the easiest. He's got such a great roots in rock.
And the choral kind of stuff.
Oh man, he's one that's just instantly. You don't even have to know hardly much about music because it's almost like listening to the Beatles or something. You're like, it can't be anything else.
Yep.
Who else could this be, right?
Yep.
Other than Danny Elfman.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Especially with his arrangements. His arrangements are very, very succinct.
Yes.
In the way that he does them, and he also does every single Tim Burton movie ever made.
Except for Ed Wood.
Yeah, that's true.
Strangely, that was Howard Shore.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But I guess they were just.
He might have been working on something else.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm doing the Oingo Boingo reunion tour. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I have 47 other films to do this year.
That too. Right. Right.
But Silvestri, though, I think he's one of those guys where I don't think he's done as much work as some of the other composers.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
I kinda wish he
Which is
did
too
more.
bad because
Yeah.
he's got
Such a great. He is so expert for like these intense scenes. You know.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about like the end of Back to the Future,
Right.
where Doc is up on the clock tower and
Yes.
he's trying to think.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Marty's gone, and like the music is just that music is just
feeding
driving
them.
that scene, right?
Yeah, you're right.
In the same way, Predator is like that
Yep.
too, with the whole last last quarter of the movie.
Yeah.
Where it's just Arnold and the Predator.
Yes. Yeah. Purely ramped up, right?
It's just all music
Oh man.
too.
Yeah. When Arnie's on the, Arnie gets out with his giant, humongous torch of
Of glory.
his glory torch. Let's fight torch, and does that reverb holler. It's not a scream.
Yeah.
That's like straight barbarian tear you into pieces.
Pure Conan.
Yep.
Primal.
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
primal, right? Yeah, come out and fight. That's what he's saying, right?
Yep.
Come on out and fight.
So good. Which we should mention. We haven't talked about this yet, Dr. K, but I know one of my favorite listeners, my buddy H-Man.
Yes,
probably
H-Man,
listening.
yes.
And
Huge fan. Love you.
We've been talking about Primal,
Oh, yes.
the cartoon. Have you Have you seen that yet?
Absolutely. You sent it to me and I watched it. Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
So there's as of recording right now, I think there's 3 episodes out.
Yep.
But there's a couple more coming this weekend. But that's really good.
Genndy Tartarovsky.
Yep.
Tartarovsky.
Tartarovsky.
Yep.
Yeah. Great.
Yep.
That's that's all there.
It's
Primal. That's
freaking awesome. I mean, if there was ever a cartoon made for you, Peter, it's that.
no kidding.
But it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy, Tartarovsky, is awesome anyway. I mean,
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
That stuff was great. Now he even did the Clone Wars, the first Clone Wars shorts,
which are awesome.
which were great. Yeah.
Dexter's Laboratory too.
Dexter's Lab. Yes. Yeah. He's so stylistic.
Very.
Which is great because you're always in his world when you're watching his stuff.
Yep.
Came out of that kind of what were the frickin' dudes who did Ren and Stimpy? I think he came out of that group of guys, right? That all worked for Ralph Bakshi.
Yep.
On Mighty Mouse.
Yes.
They were all back there in 89 or 90,
Mm-hmm.
whenever that was, right? They all kind of popped out of that group.
Yep.
And went on to do fantastic
Super
stuff.
Group. Yeah.
Yep.
And I would say Tartarovsky really. I mean, with this Primal, it's like he's upped the game. I mean, it's like,
Oh man, totally. Yeah.
I was talking to another friend of mine who's a huge animation fan, and he said this is like a breath of fresh air.
It is. It is. Yeah.
There's everything now is so fast and chatty.
Yeah.
Like if you see the new DuckTales, which is good. I like the new DuckTales.
Yep.
But it's just like joke after joke after joke after joke.
And there was a paradigm shift when I really think it was when American Dad, Family Guy rebooted everything.
Yes.
Because everyone was following The Simpsons for the 20 years before that.
Yeah.
And nothing against The Simpsons. It's great. But
it had a certain kind of timing.
That's right. That's right. And what Seth MacFarlane did, and everybody followed suit, was, your jokes have to be non-stop.
Yep.
You cannot stop for 1 second.
Speed it up.
And it becomes almost a little bit schizophrenic or something, right?
It does.
Where you're kind of like, you know, I mean, and I'm not saying that it's bad, and it's great when McFarlane does it, but it's when everybody does it, then you've kind of changed the tone for storytelling,
Right.
and it's great to see something different.
Yeah,
than
it
that.
goes the other way, right?
Right.
And it slows everything down
Yep.
now, and it's like,
Yep.
whoa,
Right.
slow can be cool too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that
Yes.
Arnold holding the torch.
Oh man.
I mean, the Primal is just the animated version of that.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
It's all
Yep,
there.
Yep. Dinosaurs,
Yep.
cavemen killing dinosaurs.
Just
You can't. That's
That's all you need. That's all
Yep.
you need. That's all your story right there.
Yes. It's great too. It's funny too. I think this is another. It totally made me think of one of those moments where we've got an animator who is making animation for us when we were in our teens, but now he realizes that now we're all in our 40s, right?
Yeah.
And so then it's kind of like, well, I can still animate, but I can do something totally adult for the fan base that I've always had, right? Because I still think, because we're freaking, this is America, and fucking America's asshole is so watertight that we're always playing catch up to what we're like 30 years behind the Japanese when it comes to like how good storytelling, and don't be afraid to tell a good story.
Or don't be afraid to try something different.
Right. And it's nice to have somebody say, "Oh, okay, that's what we're gonna fucking do."
Yeah, I know exactly.
Right?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because and it's kind of like, you know, like the master musician kind of thing. Like it reminds me a little bit of Bob Dylan. You know how Bob Dylan could be like, I'm this kind of music.
Yeah.
I created the language for this.
Yeah, sure.
And now I'm going to turn around and go do this this whole thing.
Yep.
And I can because I'm Bob Dylan.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's the same thing with Tartarovsky. It's like,
Right.
He's like, I've created a lot of the language you see now, and so now I'm going to go and start a new language.
Right.
Whoa.
Right.
So cool.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and we need some Ralph Bakshi's of this time.
We do.
To do something for adult audiences, not just for PG-13 made for TV teenage audience. Sorry, teenage fans. Look, we love you. Don't get me wrong, but everything is made for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to have something that's not that.
Yeah, we're not geriatric yet.
No,
we
damn
can still spend money and
Yes.
walk around.
Yes,
So we should have something that we like too, right?
that's right.
But wait till you see the animated Predator.
Ah,
That would be pretty cool.
that
I'd
would
see
be
that.
freaking
Yeah.
awesome, right? Right.
Yeah, but
I'm still waiting too for something more comic book-ish, because every Alien movie and every Predator movie, I want to pick on these two for a minute because they're both aliens. We always have it from a human's perspective.
Yeah.
It might be from the military's perspective. It might be from a shipping trucker named Ellen Ripley's perspective. Whatever it is, we don't ever have the aliens' perspective.
Yeah.
Even in Prometheus and Covenant, we see it from David, the creator, right? I mean, David is the one who kind of creates all. Well, there's the godlike guys, but he's kind of the one responsible for the xenomorph, right?
Yeah.
You don't ever see it from the xenomorph's perspective. We don't ever see it from the predator's perspective in film.
It's true.
Wouldn't that be a mind blower?
It's true.
Right? And then don't do it stupid, where it's like, we have to overdub everything and tell some bullshit story while they speak in predator language. I don't need that shit.
We don't need
that, but do it. Yeah. I mean, a perspective switch would be cool. That'd be really great.
I think you're right. That would be super fun, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think we've done enough now of being with the group of pros or soldiers that are fighting this menace.
You can only do that so many times in a movie, and if you like it, Dark Horse has done a billion comics on that since 1985 or whenever they picked it up. 86.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a criticism. I own most of that. It's good. It's great.
Yeah.
But we don't need more of
Yeah.
that in the film, right?
Right.
Kind of.
We can start to go different
Yeah,
directions.
you need to go Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 with this shit.
Yes.
Come on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hear us talking.
Because I mean, when you have movies like Predator,
Yeah.
which is kind of the pinnacle of that. you
Yeah.
know, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, what can you do that's better than that?
Right. Well, you're always chasing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and so
So do something
we'll talk
different.
about Predator 2 a little bit, right? Predator 2 is a
Yes.
great movie. But
is.
really, it's the same thing, but now we're going to put it in the city.
Yep.
So you tweaked it a little bit, and you
it's
put
still-
Gary
yeah.
Busey in there, you know, which was awesome.
That was a good choice.
And Bill Paxton.
Yep.
And
Danny Glover actually.
Danny Glover was great.
He does
in it.
actually do a good job.
Great in it. There's this
yeah.
great interview with him talking about it was a couple years after Predator came out.
Mm-hmm.
And in the interview, somebody asked him if he'd want to do another one. He's
Mm.
like, I would like to do 5 more Predators. He's like, it was so fun.
Yeah.
It was such a great experience.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that never happened. But
It's too bad. It's too bad.
it's because they waited so long, man. They
really
waited
did.
so long between 2 and what was the next one?
Yeah. What was the
Alien
next
versus
one?
Predator, I think.
Jeez. It was like 15 years or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it was right. It was Alien versus
I
Predator.
think
and
you're
then
right.
Requiem, and then Predators,
Then Predators. Yep.
and then
And
the Predator.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should linger too much on the sequels.
No.
but
No.
I will say this too, that because have you seen the Predator now?
I bought it and I
Yeah.
haven't watched
You
it
still
yet.
haven't watched
It
it,
looks
okay.
good. What? Just give us a
Yeah. Well, my 2-second thing is
Yep.
just that it had so many things going for it, but ultimately the CG kind of killed it.
Yeah,
CG kind
dang
of killed
it.
it. And actually I would also say the unlikability of the main character too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't know what they were thinking with that,
Right.
but we digress.
We digress. Okay, we're getting back to awesome people getting blown
Yes.
to bits. So we did Blaine.
Yep.
Who's next?
Who's next is who is next? Is it
Mac was next,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then Dylan,
Then Dylan.
and then Ramirez,
Ramirez.
which you don't really. Ramirez is kind of.
Yeah.
I think they were trying. Oh no! Then it's.
Hmm.
Then it's Billy
Yeah.
on the bridge. So we don't actually we hear him,
That was
but then when there's up in the tree, that shot of
Yeah.
him getting his freaking spine and head ripped off is great. Oh man, when you just see him fall, just blonk,
flat on the camera,
and then reaches in there.
dripping blood.
If that's not pure horror, in the best way, and he's swinging
No
his
kidding.
freaking spine around
With
like
the
like you
skull.
Scorpion up there.
I know.
Oh, dude, tell me the Midway guys didn't watch that and be like, we need a guy who does that in our game, right? He won't be called Predator; he'll be freaking Scorpion.
Oh,
Yeah,
So true.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's I love that when he's got the bloody skull too, and he just
Yeah.
puts it in front of the camera, and
Yeah.
then like this, it smokes it.
He starts polishing it off.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just
Yep.
foul.
And then the other time when he's sitting there looking at all of them, right?
Yeah.
We get the close up in on him,
Yeah.
and you see he's got all the he's got like the little bandolier of little skulls.
Yep.
And then he's got just this giant row of
So awesome.
human skulls, and he's
His
kind of
little
just like
trophies.
rubbing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. His trophies. Yes. Makes the demon who makes trophies of men.
Yes.
Yep.
So good.
Yep.
Um,
You had a great idea. We should do a good prog rock,
Yes.
space thrash metal
Yes.
song where we just take.
Symphonic power rock.
Symphonic
Yep.
power rock in the vein of Dragon Force, and we lift that great dialogue that the character of Anna gives when she's when she's kind of explaining
Yeah.
what's going on and how she actually knows about it all.
Yep.
You know.
The Legend of Predator.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
Which
put
is-
that in the middle of the song.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Give her a
beautiful.
little her proper due.
Yep. So good.
And we'll have Gindi T animate it for us with just predators and Arnie's running around mutilating each other in a ball of fury.
Oh man, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Man, yeah, it's one of those things. If we boil this down, it's like you said, it's a monster movie. It's
Yes, it really is. In the end,
yeah.
it's a chase movie.
It's a chase movie.
It's just it's a chase, which is some of my favorites.
Yeah.
Are chase movies, but and it's a monster. Yeah.
It's the characters in a sandbox, and they're getting chased by some evil presence, and
Yeah. Yep.
You just change the details up.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
the jungle and
One thing we talked about watching the credits. There's all of 10 people in the movie.
yeah,
Maybe not even 10, right?
man.
If you're not, I mean, there's a whole bunch of cursory goons that get killed.
Yeah.
None of them have any lines.
No.
I mean, it's guys running around on fire and getting blown up with hand grenades and stuck with giant 4-foot long predator knives.
Stick around. Yeah. So good.
And people, if you haven't seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger, this just came out a month ago, right? Where Arnold Schwarzenegger is donating a autographed predator knife to some foundation, along with an autographed because Stallone had talked him into doing this for some whatever charity it is, right? And so Arnie's holding the Stallone autographed Rambo knife, and he's like, "Oh, look, your Rambo knife is really good. Oh, yeah, that's a nice one, except..." as he pulls out his freaking predator machete, which is like 4 times longer.
Just a little bit bigger. So sorry. Yeah. So good. Oh man.
Find it, people.
Yep.
It's a riot.
Yep.
It's a total
It's
riot.
a little clip there. I think it's so funny how Stallone and Arnold had that rivalry.
Yeah,
But now they're just like buddies. They just like
Oh,
picking on
totally.
each other. And,
Totally,
and
yeah.
It's great.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So good. So good. So good.
Yes.
I think another funny thing. Let's go back to the very beginning again.
Yes.
Which we mentioned when we were watching it.
Yep.
Is it starts in space.
Yeah.
A
Right.
lot of people forget that. Like
Totally. It's
like,
so easy to forget. Yeah.
It's probably 10 seconds of space.
Yep.
Where the predator ship flies by
Yep.
and then it spits them out and shoots them down at the planet Earth.
Yep.
And like, you know, you don't need that scene.
You really don't. Yeah. Yeah. You
But,
don't have to have it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's kind of cool. It
Yep.
starts it off like that.
Yep. It really is just so that we know that he's from another world.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think I said this when we were watching. It's like, well, so just say that we don't have that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then he's just some monster that lives in the jungle
Yeah.
that hunts people.
And
But
that's
then I
kind of
guess
creepier.
Yeah, right. But he does have a lot of like super tech, right?
Yeah, he does. Yep.
Like obviously he can get his electronics wet and blown up,
Yeah.
and they still work, unlike our cell phones, which can't get 4 drops of water on them.
Although, like you should mention though that I think that was a pretty good observation that his tech will get damaged in the water,
Yes,
but his atomic bomb
did not.
Fine.
His
it's
detonator,
just fine. Yeah.
right? Because it was like a flip phone thing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So the camo part that got partly blown up by the exploding spear staff,
Yeah.
and then when he got it wet, it all shorted out, right?
Yeah.
But his nuke was okay
It was
because he had the flip phone
Yeah.
guarantee.
That's pretty great. That's pretty
Yeah.
great.
Come on, you tech nerds! Don't you watch Predator? We need more of that. You effing idiots! Make that.
Yeah, and that just made me think of the last fight though between Predator and Dutch.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
where there's that scene where he's starting to wail on the Predator a little bit,
Yeah.
and then he goes into the cave and he sees the dripping blood behind him, and then
Yeah.
and there's that really
Yes.
strange cut there. You know?
Yes.
Both of us we kind of both laughing because
Yep.
I think everybody that has seen Predator a bunch knows this that
Oh,
scene
yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're just
yeah.
you're just like, that's just the one weird cut in this entire movie.
Yeah. You're almost like maybe they were gonna do something else.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to get to this next part, right?
Right.
So just crawl out of there really quick
He's
and
like
blow it up.
He's like sliding out of the cave, and then the next shot he's like running,
Yeah.
and the Predator is outside of the cave.
Yep. And then the bomb goes off.
It's very confusing.
And then because he couldn't get the Predator to crawl in behind him,
Yeah.
or was he supposed to?
I don't know.
I didn't quite get that either.
Or was he above the cave? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there like a sunroof kind of thing up there?
And then so the thing that blows up was when we see him open that that M60 grenade, and he puts that into a leaf.
Yep.
And makes kind of like some little leaf bomb.
Yep. And then he lights the thing.
And then he lights it,
the
and then that
fuse.
blows up.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing, so it was just a distraction.
Yeah.
They didn't really explain that too
I
much.
don't
And it
know.
really did seem like, okay, Arnie has got to get away from the predator
Into the water.
into the water.
So he can
And
wash
then
the
they were
mud
kind of
off.
like, wow, fuck it, that works.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's like the one time. Everything else
Yeah.
is like perfectly
Right.
precise, you know?
Right.
Um,
That'd be nice to know some insight. Maybe they lost some footage
Yeah.
or they were just like, well, this looked good on paper, but what
Yeah.
we shot didn't make very much sense. And the editor's like, no, we'll just do that.
Yeah. We don't have anything else, guys.
Right.
Okay.
That's
along.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. No one will notice.
Yep.
That's the funny thing too, right? We joke about it. But so in 1987, no one was making movies thinking there's going to be assholes named
Dissecting.
watching this movie 500 times.
Yeah.
Looking at this over and over and over and over and over again, right?
No
But
kidding.
then that's what happens.
That's what
and
happens.
So that really, I think, probably as a filmmaker or as any artist, you have to assume that that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Is this going to stand the test of scrutiny? Because back then you were worried about Roger and Siskel and Ebert
Yeah.
watching it once and criticizing it, but it's what it's turned out into is fans who love it so much that they'll watch it 100 times and be like, ha ha ha! Look at that.
Man, I still don't ever forgive Siskel and Ebert for this really says a lot about the two
Yeah.
of those guys. 1990, I want to say it was 94 or 95 maybe. Remember the year Babe came out?
Oh yes.
And it was the same year that Dark City came out.
Oh, Dark
And
City. Saw
Ebert-
that in the theater.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ebert said Dark City, the movie of the year.
Ah.
He was like a huge fan of that.
Yes.
Siskel-
Good. That's a
Siskel-
great movie.
Siskel turned around and said, Babe.
Ah.
And I was like, man,
What?
Dark City is awesome.
Gosh, dang it. Dark City is great. That's funny because we both bought used copies of Dark
Yes.
City on the same day
Yeah.
at Everyday Music.
That's right. And then we both found out later that there's a director's cut
I know.
that we didn't get.
I know.
But then we didn't feel so bad because we spent like $4. So,
On both copies. Yeah, I think they were each $2, right? Yeah, so it wasn't so bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't so bad. But
Yeah.
but it would be nice to see the director's cut.
Yeah, it
someday.
would. It would. That's a great film. Oh,
Actually-
that's like a forgotten cool movie. 90s cool
So
90s
cool.
movie. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Freaking Kiefer Sutherland.
It's one of those that I kind of wish that that there wasn't an ending or something. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those where
yeah.
the whole mystery of it,
Yeah,
and him
right.
finding out
That's
what's
right.
going on,
Yep.
was so much cooler than what it turned out
That's
to be.
true.
You know?
That's true.
Even though it was cool,
Yes.
I kind of wish it would have just like ended before it explained everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got a cool story. Anyone who listened to, I think it was episode 3 that we did, the Halloween episode from 2 years ago. Our guest on that episode was Evan Eckerd.
Was that already 2 years ago?
Yeah. Yep.
Jeez.
So he and I grew up together, and we watched Dark City in this. There was a brand new Edwards Theater. I forget what that side of town was called. I'm sure it's still there. Oh, maybe not. That was 20-something years ago. Might not still be there. Doesn't matter. But yeah, we saw that together there, and we're like,
So good.
this thing's
Yeah.
it's freaking great. And then we saw Titanic there. Gosh, dang it. 90s.
I will
Anyway,
say
you make
this,
some
though.
good decisions and some poor
Yeah.
ones.
I will say though that for as much crap Titanic gets,
Yeah.
I did see it recently and I was like, man, it's a lot more action packed than I remember.
Okay, good.
It does have quite a bit of action in it.
Yes.
You know,
See,
when
I
the
think
whole boat's falling apart. and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. I think what happens for me is that I'm like, there were overrated movies that I actually did like when I saw them, like Waterworld.
Yes.
And then there's ones that I don't like Titanic.
Titanic. And you're just kind of like, I can't. Even though it has Bill Paxton and it's
I
James
know.
Cameron
And Billy Zane. I mean, it does have a
Yeah.
great
cast.
thing. It's just it's kind of convoluted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's just one of those. It's unfortunate that it was such a huge, like, iconic thing.
Yeah, because how many times? And I'm sure that you remember this. If I heard freaking Vincent D'Onofrio,
DiCaprio.
DiCaprio,
Yeah.
if I see another shot of him on the front of that boat saying
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
whatever his line is there, I'm free.
Yeah. I'm Free Willy.
Fuck, dude, stick
Yeah.
a knife in my head.
I know.
And so in 1997 or whenever that was,
Yeah.
oh, dude, I couldn't
I
take it
know.
anymore.
I know.
I almost felt guilty for having watched it. I'm
It
like,
almost
oh, this
killed
you're gonna
movies.
Kill me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. Yeah. That gets into that whole hubble-baloo blockbuster bullshit that they do, you know.
Yeah.
But it gets to the point where you're being force-fed
Yeah.
and it's crammed on you so much that then you become, at least this happens to me, now I'm antagonistic
Yeah.
against it, right?
It's like, I hate it. Why does everybody love this so much? I hate it.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then there's other times like Jerry Maguire where it really was just a piece of crap.
Oh.
and you can build the fifth pyramid of Egypt out of the VHS tapes.
Well, that's just what I was just gonna say though. Is like if you still go to any flea market,
Yeah.
you know, I guarantee you're gonna see that double disc, that
Oh,
that VHS,
double
of,
VHS, yeah.
of Titanic.
Absolutely.
They printed 1 billion of those.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And Waterworld too, which is
And
pretty
Waterworld.
funny. I heard this great Kevin Costner interview, right? Because he gets pretty a lot of just grief over that.
Yeah.
But there was this one where he's like, they're like, oh yeah, so you know you've made some mistakes like Waterworld, and he's like, do you know what? He's like, when that movie came out, that made more money than any movie ever made.
Wow.
He's like, so I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah.
I thought, good for you.
I don't think it's really a mistake. Yeah.
You liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's well
It is
said.
a little crazy. I mean, there
Oh.
are times. I mean, it's Mad Max in the ocean with Dennis Hopper
I
and
know.
his weird cyborg eyeball.
Isn't Jack Black in it too? I think Jack Black is like one of the goons.
Yeah, right.
He might be.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a bunch of jumping freaking ski-doos around.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's fun though.
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're totally right. It's Mad Max on the water.
It is. Yeah.
Oh.
And it
as
was
good as Mad
definitely
Max.
it was the absolute height of like, you need $100 million to make a film. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
We were joking about this on the last episode about Golan Globus shoveling money
Yes.
onto movies.
Whoosh.
Just keep making them. Just here's more buckets of money, shovel loads.
Have a problem? Here's $20 more million.
Right. It seems like that movie was one of the worst examples of that. Right.
Yeah.
Like just more money.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Yeah. I think the problem, what killed it for most people, I think,
Yeah.
was you can't have your main character drink his own urine.
Yeah. It becomes less likable.
The women that want to see Kevin Costner's naked butt, they're all grossed out by him now.
Yes, because he's drinking pee.
Yeah, and all the guys that wanted to be like, yeah, Mad Max, and they're like, yeah, but he drinks his own pee, you know. So nobody's happy, nobody's satisfied with that equation.
Yeah.
The other thing was he was like, didn't he have like webbed feet and
webbed feet and webbed
gills and stuff?
And gills, yeah. Which he tries to hide because he wears the scarf to cover his gills up.
Right.
And then you only see his webbed hands and feet when he takes off and goes to turn into Namor or Aquaman or whichever it is and swim around under the water. And
It just didn't work. That didn't work for people.
Yep.
And for as much as we love Gilman, you know,
I know, right?
I mean, everybody loves Gilman.
That's
Gilman could drink his own pee and people would still love him.
Yes.
But Kevin
Because he's the
Costner?
type of character who would drink his own pee.
Yes.
And he would probably eat his own eggs, too.
He probably would. But it wouldn't make him any less likable.
No, right.
Everybody would still love him the same. You know? But Kevin Costner, you're no Gilman.
Yes,
You know,
that's
Gilman.
right. That's right.
I mean, you did make Dances with Wolves, which is...
Yes.
I mean...
A great movie.
Here, let's go back to that whole iconic cliche kind of thing.
Yes.
I mean...
Yep.
Dances with Wolves is right up there with Titanic. Too,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
As far as being like a cultural event kind of thing.
Sure.
But damn it if that movie isn't awesome.
I couldn't agree with you more. That was one that even with all the hype and all the explosion, it really was that good. Yeah.
I remember buying the soundtrack to that movie.
Oh, yeah.
John
Yes.
Barry.
Yes. Great.
and you know, that's how much I loved that movie, but even back then, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it was a good one.
Yeah.
Yep. It was such a cool time too. That and Braveheart. There was a couple other ones where they're like, just make it 3.5 hours long. It's
Epic.
okay.
Put an intermission in there.
I want to go back to that time.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a sucker for it, man. When Lord of the Rings came out, I was so happy. It was like,
Yes.
okay, 3-hour movies.
Yep.
Finally.
Yep.
But I know most people are attention span of a freaking fruit fly.
Yeah.
They
it's
just
too
can't.
bad.
They can't vest.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
But then those same people will sit there and they'll binge a
I
TV
know
show
it.
for 6 hours.
I know.
Yeah?
I know.
But then they'll be like, I don't want to sit for 3 hours in the cinema.
I got to think about it. Dang it. People,
Come on, everybody.
America,
We're angry now.
demand more of your movie watching self.
You can watch longer things.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right.
You know, if Predator was 3 hours, we would watch it.
Oh my goodness. It'd be like the story of all time if it was 3 hours,
Can
right?
you imagine if it was 3
be-
hours though? Like,
It's him
just imagine
picking his teeth
I
and
know.
cleaning his fingernails.
Just imagine how sweaty Mac would be by the end of that movie. That guy can sweat like nobody's business.
Yes.
We were watching him and like
Yep.
go back and look
Yep.
at Mac when he's
Yep.
putting that little razor up against his face.
Yep.
He has more sweat than entire countries can produce sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
serious.
yeah, yeah. And we're shooting the gun too, man. When he's got the minigun and he's
Yeah.
just screaming. He's like
Just-
just this. You can see the sweat kind of like
just
squirting off of
pouring.
him.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, he's so sweaty that it's like it's in your face, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
this shows you how sweaty he is because everything is sweaty in this movie.
Right.
The plants are sweating.
It's true. It's
Like
true.
everything is covered with oil and grease and
Yeah.
sweat and
Yeah.
blood. This movie is just dripping with fluids.
It's a testament to them bringing us into the environment, right? Because they're
Yeah.
all everybody's talking about it. There's
Yeah.
that great line between Mac and
Yeah.
Blaine, where it's hotter than a freaking. What are they saying? It's
yeah.
something about it's Cambodia.
Right,
and-
right. This makes Cambodia look like
Yeah.
Kansas.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And everybody's just kind of miserable
Yeah.
and the
Totally.
intensity, and they did really good with the fog machines, right? So
Mm-hmm.
every time, like it'll be like on the morning shots, you just see it's just everything
So
is
foggy.
foggy. And it just makes you, but it doesn't make you think of like cold fog. It's like miserable jungle.
Yep.
It's like
Humid fog.
Hey, it's 6 a.m. and
Mm-hmm.
it's 98 degrees and 200% humidity, and everybody's soaking wet. Yeah,
And
yeah.
Ya-
Vietnam fog. Yeah,
And Janish is back there going, "Why am I drippings with goo?" It's like everything's
Janosch.
gooey, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
No, those fog machines are awesome.
Yeah,
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 I mean,
Used to the
it's-
T.
The whole language of this movie is just fog
Yeah.
for a big part of it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Which is great because it just adds to the mystery. you
It
know?
is. It does. Yeah. Yep. And just the hot griminess of Ecuador. They don't ever say where they're at, right?
don't
maybe
think
it's
so.
Ecuador, maybe it's El Salvador.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they keep showing the map, and I was like specifically looking to see,
Right.
but it doesn't show. There's not like
Yeah.
Panama and
They don't-
Ecuador,
yeah,
or
they don't.
yeah.
They don't hold your hand.
right,
They
right,
don't-
which
no,
is good.
Which
It's
is
good. That's
we
it's
have
awesome.
to form our own
Yep.
ideas.
Yep.
You know, you just mentioning Jesse Ventura's character's name, Blaine.
Yes.
You know what I just thought of, and this has to be true. You know where Jesse Ventura is from, right? Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's right. Where he was the governor.
I think we might need to fact check this, but I think he was born in the city of Blaine. Minnesota. So that could be why his character's name is Blaine.
Could be.
Okay,
Could be.
Dr. K is gonna Google this now.
We're gonna have to Google us some.
I do know he has like some kind of ranch that's outside of Blaine, I think.
Mhm.
Maybe Rockford, Minnesota or something. But regardless, that's kind of cool.
That
that,
is super cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
That could be a little Minnesota geekdom thing right
Yep.
there.
Well, it says Minneapolis,
Okay.
but he may live in Blaine.
Yeah, I think he does.
It says born July 15th, 1951, in Minneapolis.
51. So hold on. So 51, and he's probably making Predator in 86,
86.
right?
Yep. Right.
So he's 35, 34,
Yep.
35.
Yep. 35. Yep.
Jeez, we're old, man.
I know.
Can you imagine? I still look at him and I'm like, he's older than me.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that.
Right. Right.
But
I know. Right.
He's one of the younger guys probably still in that movie, right? Because we know Bill Duke.
Bill Duke
Dude.
was definitely the.
He was in his 40s at
the
least.
oldest actor there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But even Arnold too. He must have been in his 30s, right?
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. See, so Bill Duke was born in 1943.
Okay.
So he
was 44, 43?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
That's
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
He's still a young camper.
Yep.
But now he's older than Sin, though. Now
Yes.
he's like 130 or something.
So he was born in 43. That would make him 70.
Jeez.
What year is it? 76?
Yeah.
43, 76.
Yeah. Yeah. But he looks even older than that, though.
Yeah.
In Mandy, you know.
Oh
he-
yeah.
he-
Oh yeah.
He was looking
That was
pretty
great.
rough.
I think, and they
Yeah.
specifically made him.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to play him
Yeah.
as an older guy, but yeah, he looks ancient in
Yeah,
Mandy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I always loved him in Commando.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that?
he's great in Commando.
yeah.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
And he doesn't he like fall through the door and he gets the piece
Yes.
of wood through
Yes.
his chest.
Yep.
That was great.
His death scene.
Yep.
Oh man. Yeah, people, if you're not a Bill Duke fan, I don't know, there's
Start.
something wrong with you.
Yeah. You should start being a fan right now.
Yeah, because he was in a great 2017 movie called American Satan.
No kidding.
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
And a bunch of other cool shit too. But he's been around for a long time.
Did you know that Full Moon has an Instagram account?
Oh, they should.
They should.
They should.
And
We're Full Moon fans.
I know. I started following him today, and it's
Good.
just like clip after clip of Puppet Masters.
Yes, of course.
You know,
Yes.
just like a puppet with like a metal bra, and then it flips open and guns come out.
Yeah,
and it's
yes.
just over and over that, you know.
Yes.
So-
Charles Band and Company.
Uh,
The Band Brothers.
But you know, Dr. K, one thing I do want to say is we are huge Stuart Gordon fans. You know,
We are.
and I started watching Space Truckers. This
Oh,
good God! Why have we not ever
I
seen this?
know. I know it.
Okay,
Peter, I know it.
okay. Check this out
Yep.
for everybody keeping score. Stuart Gordon directs, right? Barbara Crampton is in it. Dennis Hopper is in
Yes, of course.
it.
As the main character,
Yeah.
right?
I think Richard Band does the music.
Yep. Yep.
This is like mid '90s, I think.
Yep.
After he did Fortress with Christophe Lambert.
Right.
Uh,
Oh, that movie's great.
I know. I'm seriously itching to buy that one right now.
Yep. I haven't seen that in forever.
yeah.
I remember renting that though,
Yeah.
and me and my buddy Steve were watching it. We're just like,
What?
what?
is this?
Yeah.
So awfully good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we rented like everything Christopher Lambert had done
Oh, I
that
did
we
too.
could get our hands on. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was one of those drugs, right? Where it's
Oh,
like
yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
love how awesome Highlander was.
Highlander, Tarzan too.
Yeah.
Tarzan of Greystoke.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
And-
he had some like really good
Oh,
ones.
And so then you were just like you were caught in that heroin junkie
Yes,
thing where it's like
yep.
you try to get that first high.
That's
again,
right.
And nothing can ever.
So true.
And it's always like cheap,
so.
you know, skunk weed.
Yeah.
Everything else is skunk weed that he made.
And the highest you could ever climb is him as Raiden in Mortal Kombat. That's right. And then you realize that you come crashing back down to
You're like,
Beowulf.
yes. Yeah, you know exactly. And you find yourself naked in some alley, and you're watching Beowulf.
Yes.
And you're just like, this is what it's come down to, Christopher
What's-
Lambert.
Oh man, or Blind Fury. That was a good one too.
But no, that was
with Rutger
yeah,
Hauer.
yeah.
And,
But
oh no, that was
Fortress-
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry.
But
Yeah.
Fortress was good.
Yeah,
though,
Fortress
too.
is good.
Fortress was like,
yeah.
maybe it can be as good
Yeah.
as Highlander was
Yeah, yeah,
again.
yeah.
No,
No.
it
Okay.
wasn't.
Yeah.
But there's a glimmer. There's a glimmer.
It was. It's unfortunate too because he didn't ever get back onto like big studio stuff, right? I mean, he was doing like just one kind of Roger
Yeah.
Corman-y piece
I
of
know.
crap after another.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what he did wrong because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
He's a really good
yeah,
actor.
yeah.
I mean, Tarzan right there, man.
Yes.
I mean, he
Saw
could
that in the theater with my
convincingly-
mom.
How many actors can convincingly act like an ape?
Yeah,
on
I mean,
screen,
really,
you know?
and
And
that
not
sounds like
be
we're
laughable.
joking,
Yeah.
but have it, exactly,
Yeah.
have it not be laughable
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty mean feat.
Yeah, now, that's a heavy movie too. That
Yeah.
all things considered.
Yeah, Greystoke.
Greystoke. Yep. Good, really good movie. Yeah, and that was the movie that put him on the map too,
I
right?
think so.
He was pretty young.
Yeah. It was before Highlander.
It was before
right?
Highlander. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That was pretty great stuff.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best Tarzan movies ever.
Oh, well,
Right.
come on. You don't like the Jonathan Brandis? What's his name? Jonathan Brandis. What the
Brandis.
fuck's the matter with me? That other Brando named guy. Who did all the Tarzan movies and he can't get a job to save his life anymore?
Kevin Sorbo?
No, the guy from the Mummy franchise. What's that guy's name? Mummy 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Not The Rock, but the
Oh, Brendan Fraser?
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
And then he was Tarzan
Yes.
in some horrible piece of crap
Right,
schlock.
right.
Yeah.
George of the Jungle.
Yeah, George of the Jungle. That was it. Thank you. He was George,
Yeah.
not Tarzan.
Yeah, but same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I mean, yeah. Yep.
You say tomato, I say George of the Jungle.
Right.
I say
Watch out for that tree.
You say Brendan Fraser, I say Kevin Sorbo.
Yes. And I say Marlon Brando. So
Let's write a song.
we're high on the fact that it's 2:30 in the
Yes.
morning now, and we're rambling out
we
our
really are.
asses.
But we haven't had a chance to do this for a while because Mr. Corleone,
That's right,
he's pretty
Thank
much
you.
kept us on track.
dude.
He's kept us on task. You know?
Don Vito, if you listen to this, which you
Yeah.
won't, because we'll just give you the summary of it.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. We really love having Vito Corleone with us because he is really good
Yeah.
about like keeping
Keeping us on track.
from being too tangential.
Yeah.
We like.
I would say most of our guests on here have
They
done
do.
that for us.
They
you
really
know.
do.
But
They
when
do.
it's just you and me and you, listener,
That's right. We
it's
go down
dangerous.
some wormholes.
It's dangerous. we go where few have dared to go.
Even
We-
Klingons will not go where we go.
We have mentioned Beowulf by Christopher Lambert on our show more than once.
That's right. More than once.
You know, that reminds me, though, I do want to say, speaking of Rutger Hauer,
Yes.
somebody posted recently a movie he did called Split Second. You
Seen it.
remember that?
Oh,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Isn't that
That's
awesome?
when, yep.
Ah, that
I
was
was
a
loving
great
with
one.
my buddy Steve. That's a good one. That's
It's
a good
so
one.
like cheesily. It's like trying to mix Alien with Blade Runner.
Exactly. And failing
and failing
miserably. That
But
might be a
it's-
Roger Corman movie.
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
bet you,
sure
I bet you it is because it has all the Roger Corman hallmarks. Right?
Everything
It's
about
just
it.
like big dripping beast.
Yep.
Semi-nude women.
Yep.
Um,
No money,
no
some
money.
wash-up actor
Yep.
that's going to get this to make money direct to video.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
He's
I
another
think
one,
that
though.
might be in my Amazon list, believe it or not, because
Dude.
I was like, I was reminiscing. I was probably going through like Rutger Hauer's IMDb,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I want to see that again, you know. And so I just put it in there to remind myself about it because I think it came out some years ago and it's been out of print forever, and so now
Yes.
everything's $25 or
Yep.
$50 or whatever, which is never going to happen.
No, there's no way you're going to spend that much on
No,
Split Second.
No.
But you're right, man. He's another one that's just like Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
Great actor.
Yes.
Superb actor. Made a lot of bad choices in his films, though.
Unfortunately. Yep.
Some pretty great ones, though.
Yes, Hobo with the shotgun.
Yes.
Please. That
He
movie
really
is
came back when he did that, man.
He did.
That was his big comeback.
Yeah. Sin City.
Sin City.
He's fantastic in. Escape from Sobibor. Have you seen that?
Oh, great.
So
Great.
awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Blade Runner, of course,
Blade
one of our
Runner, of
favorite
course.
movies of ever. Period.
Yep.
I'm reading Philip K. Dick right now. Actually, not that book, but this one,
Sweet.
which is called The Game Players of Titan, and it's got
Awesome.
me hook, line, and sinker, man. It's fantastic. But,
So, what would you say to our listeners if they're going to read a Philip K. Dick short story or book? What should they start with?
Pooey! I will say this. This is the great thing about Philip K. Dick. So I've read probably 10 of his books. And the guy's got, forget short stories, I think just regular novels, he's got 50 something, right?
Jeez.
And then he's got multiple collections of short stories. But
Prolific.
this is what I'm getting at. The awesome thing so far that I can tell, not having read everything, but having read a good chunk, he's got his voice is the same every single time.
Cool.
So I've read books that are 15 or 20 years apart, and it's not like, hey, he was way younger here and he's way older here.
Yeah.
On the earliest stuff that I've read, which is like late 50s, early 60s, and then the way later stuff from the late 70s, you know exactly what you're getting.
That's cool.
And to me, that is a fantastic feat.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can go wrong.
Well, that's that makes me think of Stan Sakai and Usagi Yojimbo. It's the same thing, man.
Yes,
it's like
right.
it's like you go back
Right.
and you see some of the earliest Usagi Yojimbo stuff he did.
Yep.
He's still doing it the same way.
Right.
30 years
Which
later.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means he mastered it right away.
That's exactly
they just hit it, right? Like
Yeah.
they knew they hit it and they're
Yep.
like, this is it.
Yep.
Proceed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would just say read anything by
Read anything because you can't go wrong. Now I would say you might not want to. So he's got some things that are like trilogies. There's the
Well, there's some, I felt like there's some things that are, because I haven't read too much of his stuff, but there's definitely some things where I felt that are kind of difficult though, you know?
Oh, definitely. So here's the thing
Yeah.
with him. He can get very existential.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I love about him, which I think some readers don't love so much, is usually the first half of the book is establishing what eventually will happen.
Yeah.
He doesn't ever get straight to
Straight to the plot.
Straight to the point, right? So there's huge amounts of character development, but he always drops you in.
Yeah.
So it's not like not anything that I've read, but he doesn't do the Frank Herbert way, which I like. So, and I'll pick on him because he's also a fantastic sci-fi writer in Dune. He doesn't give you all this backstory and history and everything to set the stage for what's going to happen. Philip K. Dick works on the exact opposite way of doing it, which is you're immediately dropped in, and then for the first 20, 30, 50, 100 pages, you're trying to figure out what the world is that you're in, because he won't give you hints to anything.
Wow.
Right? He's just going to say, here's this guy, here's this character, or here's this group.
Yeah.
And then go with it. So I'm going to give a suggestion then. Read The Maze of Death.
Okay.
Short. It's freaking awesome. And it's one of those ones, this is what I always tell Peter. When you hear people talk about Philip K. Dick and they say sci-fi is barely catching up to him, that is absolutely true. There's no truer statement going on right now in sci-fi than that it is just right now catching up to what he was doing in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
Jeez.
Which is, I don't want to say that it's sad, but it's a real bummer that for the audience that he had being so small to what it is now, when you see Hollywood is just lining up. I mean, the studios have probably bought the rights to every one of his books, and they're just waiting to bring him out because people just now have the right headspace for his sci-fi for how old it was. And that,
how did he do that? I mean, just, it's
visionary. It's a total visionary. Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so shocking though is we have all had decades and decades of sci-fi and everything to
absolutely
to kind of get our brains ready for new concepts and new ideas.
Yes.
But he didn't need any of that. He just
he invented it.
Yeah.
He was freaking inventing it. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep. And the thing is, it was so well founded and so good that it just audiences couldn't catch up to it. They couldn't.
And what I like about it too is it's not just pure allegory.
Right, absolutely not. That's one of the best parts. Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Dude, that's such a great insight. Yeah, so true.
It has
so
allegorical elements, but
yeah. Yep. But he's not trying to tell you some political diatribe and bury it inside sci-fi. At all. Right, a lot of it's like it gets more philosophical, and some of the, what I mean by that is a lot of times he's posing philosophical questions or conundrums, but then just telling a story where that's what they're trying to work through without giving you an answer.
Yes,
and that's awesome.
That's pretty
because
great.
That's what we, the reader, are supposed to figure out.
Yep.
Is what the answer is. I mean, if you love Blade Runner, you got to read. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but understand that it's not the movie at all. Blade Runner is Ridley Scott's vision and it's Ridley Scott to the max.
Yep.
Using Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep as a springboard. The book is very, very different, but in its own way, very, very awesome.
Yeah.
You know, all of the elements that Ridley Scott, I won't say, maybe not all of them, most of
But
the
enough
elements
of them,
that
yeah.
he tries to use are buried inside the
Yep.
book. But the book gets into just very more specifically the question.
Yeah, a lot more of the pet stuff and the animal
Man,
stuff. and
big
the-
time.
Yeah.
What is real? It gets
Yeah.
into that whole, the movie is really concerned with the main characters
Yeah.
gripping with their own mortality. Am I a real thing?
Yeah.
But the book is really good about like the environment. Is the world that you're in even real if
Yeah.
everything is artifice?
Yes.
Genius,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And then you get to, well, holy shit, man, maybe I'm not real.
yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
know.
I'm the fake thing when all the
It's-
things that are around me are fake.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool to think too that I was reading somewhere recently that Philip K. Dick saw Blade Runner. You know,
Yeah.
he saw the movie.
Yes, the
And-
screen for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he told Ridley Scott like, nice work.
Yeah.
You know, like he was happy with
Yeah.
the movie. You know, and so that tells you something right there too.
Yeah,
That,
right.
that like
Right.
it wasn't just a copy of the book. It was something different, but it had enough of the book
Exactly.
in it so that Philip K. Dick was happy. You know,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yep,
So,
yep. I really do think too that putting all of the Ridley Scott put a whole bunch of this kind of these existential ideas into the movie, which is great. But I think his vision of what Philip K. Dick's world looked like, that's, oh man, dude,
Yeah.
you couldn't have gotten it any better.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Philip K. Dick's the world that he's writing in across most of his books, because it's all very sci-fi. Is that it's
Yeah.
this like in the future everything's in some form of decay, and it's like how
Gritty
people are dealing with
yeah,
things falling apart, and
yeah.
you know, and then
and-
people, of course, everything's very character driven. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So getting back to Predator.
Yes,
We should probably start wrapping
we
this
should.
up.
We've been talking for about 5 hours, but
Yep.
that's okay. Take that, audience.
Yes. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about Predator before we wrap this one up, Dr. K? Have we covered everything?
I think we did cover
Final thoughts.
pretty much
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say, how about this? How about why I love Predator so much? Okay, one thing that I didn't talk about, which I said I was going to talk about and I forgot. When I was growing up in high school, Walmart came to our town, our small town of Bakersfield, in maybe I was in high school, 1994. The first one opened up, and it was like a big deal, right? So we go to like the store opening, and here's
Yeah.
this. We finally got a Walmart in Bakersfield. The first movie that I ever bought with my own money was Predator
Yes.
on VHS.
Nice.
So that will also tell you that must have meant that I watched it until I wore that tape out,
billion times.
which is true.
Yeah.
But
So good.
as an aside, part of why I've watched it so many times is because it really, as a story, it's really fantastic. We talk about the characters and the monster so much, and they're so good. They're so good. But the story,
Story's great.
it's your group of characters against this overpowering thing, right?
Yeah.
And how do you persevere? And we see in the end only 2 people are able to do it, right? Which makes it even so, the drama aspect is so cool because we've got all these people we're rooting for,
Yeah.
and only 2 of them are able to come out in one piece.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point. I mean, every character is interesting and likable.
Oh, you
in
love
some
them.
way.
Yeah, you fall in love with them.
Yeah. And so it's like it's pretty brutal when they start getting picked off.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man. Same for me. I watched it a billion times growing up, and I always have a memory. This is one of those movies where you were able to see it at the hotel. Remember those days
right.
too?
Absolutely.
Where it's like,
yes.
it was like right around. Yeah, it was like right around. It was just being released on VHS or something,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
it was. I remember it like being. It was right around. It was released in the theaters too. You know, it was
Right.
like in that little limbo before VHS maybe.
Yep.
And I remember seeing it at a hotel, and I was like so
Right.
jazzed. You know,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I get to see Predator, and
Yes.
it's like in a room. It's not even in the theater. You know,
Right.
so it'll always have a special place for me for that
Heck
memory
yeah.
too. You know.
Heck yeah. Yep.
But
It's so funny that we talk about that now, right? It's like the second that movies are out of the theater, or sometimes before, they're already on demand.
yeah,
Right?
it's
But
not
back
even a
then,
thing.
it was that was the closest thing we had to on demand.
It was a big deal.
If it
Yeah.
got to got to HBO or Showtime before because the tapes took so long to make, right?
did.
That's the other thing. People always laugh that, you can just walk into Target. And it's literally 10 days after the movie has quit showing in theaters. They've got the Blu-ray.
There it is.
There. Back in the day, you had to wait freaking 6 weeks usually
Yes.
because it took so freaking long to make all the VHS tapes in Mexico
Yep.
that all got sent up here in by the
Yeah,
truckload.
by the truckload.
And then they had to get to stores, and there was
Yep.
this like big wait time.
Yeah.
And so it was almost an event when movies would debut that you could actually go, particularly forget buying them because we didn't end up buying them until we were older, but going to rent them was a huge deal to get them in the stores, right? And so wherever, Blockbuster or Video City or whoever.
And then there would be sometimes those weeks of like you can't even rent it because it's always out.
Oh,
right?
gosh, that was the worst. That was the worst. Remember, like at the end there, when Blockbuster, if Blockbuster had a movie that was a blockbuster, they would have 400 copies.
Yeah.
They would have a whole wall.
Oh, I know.
Right? Because they refused. They didn't ever want to. They didn't want that to happen.
We'll
And so they
never be
really
out.
would order hundreds of copies. They would rent them for 6 months, and then they would all go up for sale.
Yep.
Right? They're like, okay, now we're gonna flip them, and they're $8, baby. Only been rented 400
Yeah,
times.
exactly. ID4. ID4 was like that.
Yeah.
I remember just seeing tons of ID4.
Yeah.
Oh man, good old days.
Oh man. Yeah. The heyday.
But anything else about Predator? Let's see now.
Love it. Okay, so let's. We talked a little bit about
Why you love it?
why we love it, why the sci-fi movie monsters, which I started this whole thing with, but I want to reiterate. Sci-fi movie monsters. It's Alien, it's Predator, and it's
Terminator.
And Terminator. Yeah, and
Trifecta.
there's the trifecta, and it's there for a reason,
Yes.
right? Those movies, maybe not the entire franchises, but the originals for sure. And I think Alien might. Alien, the first two, Alien and Aliens are freaking awesome. Terminator and T2 are freaking awesome. And Predator 2 are awesome.
Yes.
Predator 2 might be the weakest out of that whole group,
Yeah.
but it's still really
It's
good.
Still really good though.
Pretty much everything when it went to part 3, it becomes, whatever. It becomes.
It starts to have issues.
Yeah. But those 3, I mean, man, there's something super special going on there.
Yeah, those are great cases of like everything is awesome.
Yeah.
You know? Like
right.
when you get to the part 3s, you're like, yeah, I love this, but I don't like this.
You got it.
know?
You got it. Yep.
Those ones are like everything. There's not a
Yep.
you can't say anything bad.
I don't know how many times I've said I love Alien 3, except that the alien is CG.
Yes.
If the alien was a mechanical alien, that movie would have been 10 times better, right?
Yep.
Each one you're gonna have that though, right?
That's so
you're gonna
true.
have, and then but then this happened. Yeah, so true. Yeah.
Yep. And Robert Rodriguez Predators was pretty good,
Yes, agreed.
but not great.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Right.
You know what I think the problem with the sequels of Predator,
Yeah.
really? Not to say anything bad about Danny Glover, because I think Danny Glover was awesome.
Yes, agreed.
But you really needed that kind of Rocky versus Drago kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? Like Predator
Yeah.
Predator needs his big personality to go against.
Right.
And Arnold was providing that.
Right.
And Danny Glover provided that a little bit, but he's not a huge action star.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Right. And everything else, they didn't have anybody. Like the Robert Rodriguez one, who was the main character in there? I don't know. Adrian Brody?
Yes.
Eh?
Adrian Brody. Yep. That's who it was.
No.
I know.
And then the other ones, you know what I mean? Like Predator needs that like big awesome action dude to fight against.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a good Predator movie.
Yeah.
They tried to do that for the Predator,
Right.
but he was not cool.
Dang it.
So
Yeah, you're right. That's the thing. Predator is the Ming, and Ming needs Flash Gordon.
Yes.
Dang it.
that's totally it.
Yeah.
Doesn't work without that.
Yep.
Whereas the Aliens movies can kind of.
Yeah, right. That's
know.
that gets into the ambiguity of
Yeah.
the nature of Alien, right?
Yeah.
Is that we're never ever, except with the Queen, we're never concerned with any one alien. Generally speaking, it's
Yeah.
it's
the
bigger
hive.
threat is the hive mind, right? And the fact that there's so many of them, and then kind of like what they introduced with Prometheus and Covenant is that these things. We think they're one thing,
Yeah.
but maybe they're everything, right?
Yes.
That's really cool. I kind of like that they brought that element into it.
Yeah.
They're like this evolving weapon.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's pretty dang cool.
But we don't ever need one, right? Whereas I think Predator is usually it's the one dude who's going to thrash you, right?
It's the hunter and the hunted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And Terminator is kind of that too a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And that's why we're kind of like we're kind of scratching our heads on this latest Terminator one because
Right.
it's like we don't need all these extra characters.
Right.
We just need
Right,
Arnold,
right,
Sarah Connor.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's it.
to give us 1 inch of slack, we haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But agreed. So we're being critical of something we haven't seen, but knowing what we know from living in the world that we do, and we get 10,000 different freaking trailers.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. I mean, it's
just like,
really true.
Yeah.
Why don't we just have one Terminator? And
Can't we do that?
maybe they did that too many times.
I don't know.
About that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Something to say about simplicity though.
there
right?
is.
Like it's go back one more time to that Primal cartoon.
Yeah,
That's all.
right.
That's all it is simplicity.
So true.
And it's refreshing.
Ah, it is. It really is.
How refreshing would it be to watch a Terminator movie
Yeah.
where it's one Terminator trying to kill one person,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it's one person trying to protect her from that Terminator?
Yeah.
I'll see that.
Yeah.
I'll plunk my money down right now to see that.
Right.
What I won't plunk my money down to see is 4 Terminators chasing 3 people. One of them's a cyborg Terminator girl.
Yep.
And then one of them is Sarah Connor.
Yep.
And then she has like 2 daughters and a best friend.
Yes. And then there's the T2, T3
Right.
hybrid. He's the T3,
Yeah.
but it's a dude now instead of a chick, right? I think that's what it is. He's the mechanical Terminator that can morph with the.
It's
The
no,
T3
It's just
thing.
too much. It's too much.
dang
It's
it.
Too much.
It is. Yeah.
Predator.
Yes.
Arnold and Predator at the end.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yep. Arnold and Kevin Peter Hall.
Kevin Peter Hall of Highway to Hell fame.
That's right. And Predator 2, right
Yep.
before he died.
Yes.
Yep.
And Harry and the Hendersons.
And Harry and the Hendersons. Yeah, he played some really cool. You would never know
Huge
if you
dudes.
saw him because he was always in full
Yep.
makeup and costume. But he had some iconic roles. Yeah.
You
Really
know, not to go on another huge digression, but I was just reading earlier tonight. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a writer. Did you know that?
Oh, I
And
did
like,
not know that.
Like a really good writer, though.
Oh, great.
Like, I'll have to send
I
you
knew
this
he
article.
knew some awesome freaking kung fu, Jeet
Yeah.
Kune Do,
Yeah.
and I knew that he was a Hall of Fame basketball player.
Right. But he's like a legit like really good writer.
Oh,
Like,
great.
He wrote this whole article about Marvel movies and Scorsese.
Ah,
I was like,
what?
and it said Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I was like, it must be another Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then I sat there for a second. I was like, how many Kareem Abdul-Jabbars are there in the world?
Right.
If your name is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and you're like 27 or something, I would say you probably would.
We're named
would-
after
yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, or you might want to change it around a little bit, like just
right.
Kareem A.
yeah.
Jabbar or something.
Right.
But
Right,
anyways,
right.
yeah, it was him. He wrote
That's
it.
great.
And then he wrote a whole series of like Sherlock Holmes books.
What?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh man, learning something every day.
Yeah. So I don't want to recommend. I don't know if the books are good, but the article was good. I'll send
Well,
it.
there
to
we
you.
go, people.
Yeah.
If Philip K. Dick is too much for you, go read some Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Then why not?
Yeah.
And then watch Game of Death.
Yes.
Right? Was it Game of Death?
Maze
I think
of Read. Maze of Death.
it was- Maze of Death.
Yes.
We're falling asleep here.
Yes, we are.
Predator was awesome.
Predator was great, people.
Thank you for
Hopefully,
watching it.
yes. Yeah,
with
we
us.
shared all this great stuff with you.
Yeah.
You like it? We love it.
Yep.
Hopefully, you love it.
Watch it again. Enjoy it.
Do.
Remember those little finger things? His hair coming out
Oh
of the
man,
water?
his hair floating out of the water. So cool.
Just
Such a
I could
great
watch
shot.
that 1,000 times.
Yep. Yeah, him. We joked it was him walking. He doesn't need to swim, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's a predator. So he's walking,
Yeah.
and when he's down there, he sees Highlander walking the other way, laughing at the fish,
With the bubbles coming out of his mouth.
realizing that he's immortal.
Yeah.
But he shares the same pond as a fucking space killer.
That would be a good movie. That would be a good movie.
All right.
So thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon. We'll be back soon. We got to do a few more of these before I leave the country for a little while.
That's right.
We'll be doing some intercontinental neighborhood watches.
We
though.
will.
Don't worry.
We will. We will.
Transcontinental.
You're gonna freaking love it. Transcontinental. You
Yeah.
got it, man. That's it. You're gonna love what's coming soon, people.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out with us here at your friendly neighborhood watch. On behalf of my wonderful co-host, best friend in the world here, Dr. Peter
Hey,
Venkman.
Thank you, Dr. K. Right back at you
We will see you next time.
on the Neighborhood Watch. Peace out.